everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, if you may recall, about a year ago, I did a blog on New Genie on the Block, where Princess Sofia accidentally unleashed a mischievous rookie genie named Kazim, whose wish-granting skills showed no regards for rules or responsibilities, and with help from Sergeant Fizz of the Genie Patrol, Sofia was able to show Kazim the effects of his mischievous wish-granting, and he delightfully joins the Genie Patrol as Junior Patrolman. Now, as I said in my blog, I found this episode to be very entertaining, and it brought back fond memories from one of my favorite Disney films of all time, Aladdin. But during Sofia's 4th season, before the Mystic Isles saga began, Kazim and Fizz got to appear in one more episode, which I was originally going to blog during February of this year if it weren't for so many things piling up on my plate at the time. So anyway, let's get started. Airing on television on May 19th, 2017, this is Pin the Blame on the Genie. And now, on for the plot of the episode. In this, while Princess Sofia and her dad King Roland II are visiting Tangu, a series of genie-like pranks have been popping up all over the kingdom, and the former young troublemaking genie Kazim is being accused for all the havoc. Thankfully, Sofia sticks by him and sets out to prove his innocence with some help from Sergeant Fizz. So, what are my thoughts on this episode? Well, in my personal opinion, this episode was a lot of fun, and I'd like to consider it as another one of my favorite episodes from Season 4. And to further explain why I love this episode, let's head over to Mustang Notes. Now, firstly, this episode marks the 4th time where Princess Sofia visits the kingdom of Tangu. The previous 3 were, of course, Two to Tangu, Minimus is Missing, and New Genie on the Block. Secondly, the moral of this episode is, do what you can to prove someone's innocence no matter who they are. And thirdly, this episode was written by Matt Hoverman, who after this wrote A Very Mystic Wassalia, Undercover Fairies, and 4 other episodes during Season 4. Speaking of Undercover Fairies, back in 2018, when I blogged that episode, Matt made a comment on my video, which back then made me feel really proud. Now, what are my thoughts on the animation? Well, in my opinion, the CGI animation is still excellent, and unlike the last episode I blogged, which had several goofs, this episode only has one goof. Anyway, in my eyes, the setting in Tangu hasn't really changed at all since the last 3 times Sofia has visited there. Like I said before, this kingdom is reminiscent to Agrabah, and the only places we ever see in this episode are the Tangu Palace, the Marketplace, and the Genie Patrol headquarters. Speaking of which, I find it interesting that the symbol of the Genie Patrol is Genie's lamp from Aladdin, which could also mean that my theory may be correct regarding Genie being the founder of the Genie Patrol. Also, I find the episode's plot to be a bit similar to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, due to it being a mystery episode where the title character is framed for something he didn't do, and it includes an antagonist who's later revealed to be something that no viewer would ever expect. Also, the trial scene, which happens halfway through the episode, kind of had me on the edge of my seat, and I thought it was both a mean-spirited and depressing scene due to Kazim being found guilty and getting lamped, and the Genie Patrol getting disbanded. Also, while this episode is good, there's one little thing that makes me a bit disappointed. Now, I understand that this was the very last Sofia the First episode taking place in Tangu, but I kind of wish the show had an episode that centered on retrieving Jafar's Cobra staff, which is one of the Wicked Nine. And I think Tangu would have been the perfect place where it could have been hidden. And now, let's talk about the episode's song, Give the Kid One More Chance, which is sung by Sofia and Sergeant Fizz, who debate whether to reopen the case to prove Kazim's innocence. To me, this song feels reminiscent to songs that folks might know from the 1930s, and I really like the part where Sofia and Fizz tap dance nearing the end of the song, and I thought the part where Sofia puts on Fizz's detective hat made her look almost like Michael Jackson. And that's all I got for Mustang Notes, so let's move on to the characters and their voice actors. Princess Sofia is voiced once again by Ariel Winter, whom was young Kyrie in the Kingdom Hearts game series, Marina in Jake and the Neverland Pirates, Macy in the Winx Club series, a few of Thumper's sisters in Bambi 2, Marlene in the complete version of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, young Trixie in Speed Racer, Penny Peterson in DreamWorks' Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and Smurf Lily in Smurfs The Lost Village. As usual, Sofia is a kind, compassionate, and helpful princess, and during this episode, while she and her dad King Roland are in Tangu, not only do they have trade discussions with King Habib, but they also hope to find a new shawl for Queen Miranda. When her genie friend Kazim is framed for giving wings to a caravan of camels and causing fruit to go flying and falling on Habib, Sofia refuses to believe that Kazim will be doing these pranks, and she hopes to clear his name, despite that she kinda doubted his innocence due to a certain piece of evidence that she found. Also, I love the scene where Sofia is encouraged by King Roland when he tells her that she should keep looking until the case is closed. Next up is our main character, Kazim, this time voiced by Jaden Sand, who voiced Cubby in seasons 3 and 4 of Jake and the Neverland Pirates and Benny from the Boxcar Children. Now, as I said earlier, when we last saw Kazim in season 3, he was a troublemaking rookie genie who didn't understand the rules and responsibilities of a genie. But after seeing the errors of his actions and joining the Genie Patrol, he became a junior patrolman helping Sergeant Fizz capture rogue genies. In my eyes, Kazim's role in this episode is similar but slightly improved compared to the time when he was a rookie genie. Yes, he's still young, rambunctious, and fun-loving, but he's not as mischievous. Plus, I think his motor carpet is really cool, and I like that he becomes Junior, Senior, Junior Patrolman at the end of the episode. Also to note, the scenes where Kazim is blamed for wish-granting mischief, which he didn't do, kind of reminds me of what I've been going through lately. Next we come to Sergeant Fizz, once again voiced by Keith Ferguson, who has been voicing several characters throughout Sofia's show ever since season 2. He's also known for voicing Zuzo in Elena of Avalor, Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Friend Owl in Bambi 2, and Marluxia in the Kingdom Hearts game series. In my eyes, Fizz is still a great character, due to him being a by-the-book, no-nonsense senior genie patrolman, but still humorous at times. And I think Keith Ferguson's voice acting is still awesome. And he kind of reminds me of Robin Williams' genie voice. May he rest in peace. Also, I think Fizz's detective skills is still very superb. Our next character is King Habib, the ruler of Tangu, voiced by Goku himself, Sean Schemmel. In my eyes, Habib is a very practical and responsible man, and he's a good friend to King Roland and other rulers. Plus, during this episode, after being pranked by who he thinks to be Kazim, Habib puts him on trial and declares him guilty. But thankfully, he learns the whole truth while witnessing Sofia and Kazim exposing the real rogue genie. Finally, we come to Omar, voiced by veteran voice actor Kevin Michael Richardson. This character was introduced in this episode as King Habib's new royal wizard. Now, in my opinion, Omar seems like the kind of character whom you just love to despise, due to him seeming like a grumpy old man who is not fond of genies, and he thinks of them as silly and as menaces. And he has a habit of constantly saying, "If I may," and "I rest my case." However, it's later revealed that Omar is in fact a rogue genie who poses as a wizard by hiding his tail with his robe, and he blames others, including Kazim, for the trouble that he causes. You know, that twist reveal kind of makes Omar like a mix of Jafar and Judge Doom, and there are a couple scenes involving him that I find slightly interesting. For example, in one scene, Sofia and Fizz witness Omar undoing the mess that Kazim supposedly caused, which, according to the genie rules, only the genie who caused the wish can undo it. And upon rewatching this episode, during the scene where King Habib wishes for the camels to move out of the way, I noticed Omar slightly move a little bit. Also, I think Omar's plan to frame Kazim so that he could have the Genie Patrol disbanded was very devious. And now on to my final words. Overall, Pin the Blame on the Genie is another great episode. It has great animation, despite one little goof. It has an engaging and fun mystery plot with blinds of energy and wish granting. And I like that it gracefully takes on the idea of reformed rebels relapsing into old habits, and that it gives a worthwhile moral on doing what you can to prove someone's innocence no matter who they are. Also, Kazim was a very relatable main character. Fizz is still an outrageous genie patrol officer. Sofia was a sweet supporting character, and like Sir Oliver, Omar was one of the most shocking twist villains in Sofia's show, until Prisma and Vor came along afterwards. Lastly, while it is sad that this was the last episode to be set in Tangu, and it is disappointing that the show couldn't make an episode where Jafar's Cobra staff was retrieved, I still think this is an episode that's worth checking out. As for my rating, I'll give it a full 100%. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me next time where we look at an episode that features a magic-looking back glass. Mustang Power.